Share Shootout, brought to you by Lion of Africa Insurance, insuring South Africa's future.
It's brutal, it's backbiting, it is outright barbaric. This is Share Shootout League, right here on CNBC Africa, first in business worldwide. I'm Bruce Whitfield. Now, could the 2015 State of the Nation address turn into a payback the money rendition? Speaking about money, who is your money on coming the 12th of February? Jacob Zuma or Julius Malema? And speaking of February, why is Nigeria going to the polls on Valentine's Day? Now, we don't know the answers to any of these revolutionary questions. What we do know is the league is just 3 matches away from the semi-finals. Just take a look at how the results came in for the last Share Shootout League between the good guy and Running Dog. As you can see, Twitter doesn't lie. Running Dog coming to the fore, narrowly taking a closely contested tie by just a percentage point or 2. You go to the bottom of the league, and I hope my little elves can get me on this one. Oh, the bottom of the league is tragic. There's Shy-Town at the bottom. The One is at the bottom, but he's back today, so we'll see whether or not he can rescue his dignity. It does give Running Dog his semi-final spot, and it really does make the going fun to watch who is going to get into a semi-final spot. Nick, the value guy, Sasha Bucks, who's here today as well, K-Live are all hopeful that on 15 points they will have enough to secure a final 4 spot. Clive has done his best in his allocated matches. Sasha and Nick can still catch the high-flying Running Dog. Remember, you are the decider, you are the adjudicator, you are the final word on who wins the next match and ultimately the league. All you have to do is follow at Share Shootout League and tweet any of the stock pickers' hashtags. It's as easy as delivering the State of the Nation address to an empty auditorium. Back to the match at hand. Our first stock picker is here as a formality. Does he like his eggs fried or poached? And our second stock picker would love to secure a semi. Let's check out the players.
Now, Kgantsi, I will try to, show my knowledge of the markets, keep to speed, with companies and also with my competitors, and also try to make sure that I stack up to the competition. Christopher Gilmore from Absa Wealth. I think so, because I've been in the game for some time, and, my knowledge of the markets and companies is very sound, so I think that I stand a very good chance.
Stand by for action.
My name is Kgantsi and Naryshkine, but Sasha is short for Alexander. Call me Sasha, please. Everything from answering the phones.
Goldfield? Yes, I've heard of that company.
To attending to client emails, to make payments, everything. We like to answer our own phones because when someone phones, strangely they want to speak to us. Ignore lots of the noise in the short term, buy the quality and stick with it for as long as possible. Get inside Bruce's head just to try and confuse him as much as possible. Yeah, and act like Carl Icahn. Outrageous. Like, this board is pathetic. I've never seen such a useless board, when of course it's someone else's pick. Yeah, that's how I think I'm gonna win. Yeah, but you mustn't tell my competitors. Warren Buffett. No, I'm kidding. It has to be Bruce Whitfield. He's way too clever for everybody on this show, so if I can beat him, I'll be happy. I just need to beat Bruce, then I think I'll win this league, yeah.
Now, both Kgantsi, who goes with the hashtag The One, and Sasha Naryshkine from Vestact, hashtag Bucks, are gunning for the 3 points and a little bit of pride in this match. Neo really needs the 3 points. Sasha would like them because he doesn't want Gary Boyson to be in the lead. First, the house rules, of course, just in case you've forgotten. Both of our players pre-pick 3 shares. Only I know what they've got, and each player's got to accept at least one of the other player's stocks. They've each got 30 seconds to argue their stock pick, and they can choose from the JSE. We give them an offshore allowance too before Nhlanhla Nene takes that away in the budget speech. And we'll look at the rules, and those are out of the way, and we can get ready to go down and dirty. You're a bit of a bottom feeder now, Kgantsi. I mean, we look at the league, and it's a bit sad. I think today we should conspire against him. Okay, so I'll let you go first.
Sure.
Okay. I had the privilege of meeting the recently former chief executive of this company. He blew my mind. He's a guy who took a proud American brand and really turned it around. It was on the skids, literally. He was one of the 3 guys who flew to meet Congress to get a bailout. Congress sent them away. But then Alan Mulally saw the light. They have really configured Ford in a magical way. Alan Mullally's recently retired. But why do you like Ford Motor Corporation in 30 seconds?
Well, simply because it has underperformed 2013 and 2014. And if you look at 2014, you know, their European sales up 7%, and then their sales to China 19%, and it's the strongest selling brand globally at the moment. And if you look at what's happening in 2015, PE of 9, dividend yield of 4%, and they can still maintain a dividend going forward. And I expect that they will grow their earnings by 7%, grow, you know, their revenues 7%, and then earnings 44% this year. So I think that this is one of the underpriced, you know, content.
Do you drive a Ford? Have you ever driven a Ford?
Yes, I have.
You have driven a Ford?
Yeah.
Was it one of the bad Fords?
Oh, no, one of the best ones.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, and the Fiesta is a fabulous car, and it's been relaunched and marvelous. Would you be seen dead in a Ford?
Ford car. Bruce,
Ford,
I got a
not in one of the Fords, no, in a car. Yes, Sasha.
I've got a very modest outlook on motor vehicles. The motor vehicle is a tool to get you to and from work. So I don't know. I mean, I think I try and clock up as many kilometers on the clock as I can before getting a new one.
You're still driving the car you drove at university?
The Beetle.
Sadly not, because my driver rear-ended it. So
my driver?
No.
Oh dear, that's a pity. My driver, you know, my driver.
My friend.
So do you like the Ford Motor Corporation, Sasha?
Motor vehicle companies. Phew, that's tough, man. Motor vehicles are almost a commodity. I mean...
Come on. If you look at the passion and the enthusiasm with
there's an enormous amount.
Yeah. The utility
Detroit
that is
Auto
the car.
Show, those are exciting, they're fabulous. But
so why
as an
don't you buy
investment, I mean, you've got choices here. I mean,
and
if
Ford
I
is
was
the number
in
one
his boots,
choice
I would have
worldwide.
gone for, as an investment, I would have gone for BMW or Tesla.
Tesla is doomed if oil stays below $50.
Is doomed. No, it's not doomed, Bruce.
If the oil stays below $50, there's no case to be made for Tesla. Come on.
It's not doomed, Bruce. It's definitely not doomed. And in fact, if anything, you remember the people who buy Tesla, they're people who are making an environmental choice in rich, developed countries. They're not buying Tesla because the gas price is cheap or expensive or whatever. They're buying because they can afford a $70,000 motor vehicle. So I don't know if I had choices. I don't know how to put it forward a little
why
bit
not
lower.
BMW and why not
Volkswagen
Tesla?
would even come before
Look,
that.
why not BMW is because even though their sales were good, you know, in 2014, you know, but on a comparative basis, they have underperformed Ford. And one of the market, of their lucrative market, you know, Russia. You know, at the moment they are struggling in Russia. Not only
everyone is.
Yeah, they are
even Russians are struggling in Russia
because of the sanctions. You know, and because of and remember that you know, BMW is like an aspirational brand. You know, not everyone can afford to drive it, especially in emerging markets. But that is where Ford basically.
Okay, so you like Ford? I mean, even Sasha Naryshkine with his Russian name is struggling. That's why he hasn't bought a new car
Russian.
in 10 years. Exactly. But you're not Russian to buy Ford shares.
I'm not Russian. I'd rather be Russian to buy a VW.
There we go.
Even ahead of Ford, yeah.
You're shooting it down, Ford?
I'm shooting it down. They're better investments.
Oh, well, let's see what you've got on your particular slate.
Please don't laugh.
No, not laughing at all. I am... Okay. Okay, your first one this evening is Discovery. Discovery,
Yes.
one of the top performers of 2014. Solid performer, expansion story into China, into the UK, upping its stake in the prudential business in the UK toward the end of last year. Energized, energetic, passionate, driven, great business model, but expensive. In 30 seconds, why do you like it?
You forgot one thing there, and that's disruptor, Bruce. So they make insurance sexy again, because ironically the Vitality brand and all the associated points might be a quirky thing, but it's actually been proven in terms of their life insurance business to prolong the lives of people with a higher status. I mean, they've seen that in action. So these are disruptors and people who are changing the insurance industry with innovation. So Adrian Gore's, he owned nearly 8% of this business.
I mean, he's worth billions as a result of starting
Well, 8%
Discovery.
of 67 billion.
Yeah, it's worth, he has billions of value out of that. You've got to love Discovery now.
I love Discovery. You know, I like Adrian. You know, everything he touches, you know, suddenly becomes very nice. You know, it becomes good. But the problem is the price. You look at the price versus embedded value. What is it? 150%?
It always trades at a premium. Sometimes you have to pay up for quality. No.
Look, the thing is that they've already, I think, tapped what is like one of the best growth market, which is China at the moment. But
they haven't tapped it. They've hardly even gone in and scratched the surface.
Ping on. Remember,
it's the biggest insurance company in the world, and they are marginally involved.
Oh, of course. And remember that Xi Jinping, the current president of China, said that over the next 10 years, their two biggest goals, in China is to roll out universal safety nets, in healthcare as well as universal.
And how many governments in the world have succeeded at that?
Look, I mean, they've got the pockets.
Switzerland.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly.
And Mediclinic does very well there.
Yes. Look, and once that come into play, at the moment, an average Chinese saves a third of, every dollar they earn, because obviously they have to finance all these things out of pocket. But once they roll out that plan, who knows, what would happen to discover.
I'm willing to bet, though, that the Chinese government, with all of its capacity to dictate policy, even it will find it difficult to give more than 1 billion people universal healthcare. Discovery? You're sitting strong on it?
For rich people. It's for rich people, so it doesn't matter what the government does, ultimately.
That's the point, isn't it? So uber wealthy Chinese don't want to sit in the same hospital queue as the universal healthcare people.
Yeah.
No, but you're shooting it down. You don't want to pay the price.
I'm shooting it down, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll let you shoot
I
it
like
down.
it, but at not his price.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
But that's the point.
Sure.
You've got to be paying the correct price for shares.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's see whether or not Kgantsi can then tempt you, Sasha, with his next pick. Because here is one that is absolutely fascinating. It's been a perpetual great performer. Just earlier in January, we saw PSG, through taking out Tembeka Capital, its empowerment partners, up its stake in Capitec to over 30%. It was up 50% in share price value last year, despite the fact that the microlending sector was in tatters. But you're shorting it. You're brave with your shorts. In 30 seconds, tell me why you're feeling so brave.
I've always been brave. The reason is because it had a very strong rally. And at the moment, you look at it, you're getting it at a P of around 17. And going forward, I don't expect that there would be huge growth in unsecured lending. Now, most of these loans, remember when they started, it was a payment period of 36 months, and average loan of 50,000. Now you can get it 250,000 payable over 5 to 7 years. So the rollover rates, have decreased. You're bringing down, the growth rates.
You're charging people high interest rates for longer. They dare not default, because otherwise they never get another loan.
Of course.
The Capitec model is strong. Would you dare short it, Sasha?
Look, I think in the South African context, because of land ownership, there is a great value unlock in terms of people's personal properties, because of the way that ownership is structured in terms of people's households. And I'm talking specifically in the rural areas. So I think there's another massive business opportunity waiting for them there. Because whilst we might have a lot of unsecured lending in the South African context, what are they, like 2.4 million mortgages? That's about it.
You go to areas like the Old Transkei, for example, and you look at the area under Mtata, and you look at the most prolific businesses in those areas are small DIY construction companies that sell planks and wood and nails and stuff. And you look along the hillsides.
There's a cash build in Lusikisiki.
Absolutely, but you look at the hillsides and you look at the new builds that are going on there. Those people are funding it somehow, and it's going to be coming from the likes of taking out expensive but available loans. I'd be scared to short it, Sasha.
I think I'm scared to short it too. Simply on the basis that it's got a great support base as
but
well.
That's from big shareholders.
Well, I mean, the shareholders are there, but at the same time, remember that 80% of South African disposable income goes into servicing debt, So the capacity for an average South African.
It's been at that level for 5 or 6 years.
But the market was nowhere near what it is at the moment, and most of the banks basically are not growing that book. In fact, they are seeing it shrink rather than growing. And, Capitec, for its credit, are starting to diversify, into mortgage lending and also into transactional banking, because
But that's the genius of the model.
Exactly, but this is simply because, they are bread and butter market at the moment. I don't think that it would be as strong as it used to.
Okay, but you're wanting to short it, Sasha, you'll shoot down the short.
In a lower interest rate environment for longer with lower energy prices, probably a bad idea.
I'm looking at his third
The
pick.
interest rate there is not, the interest rate that you get in charge on your mortgage. You can easily pay anything between 25 to 32%.
But that's the point.
Yeah.
Okay, but Sasha, you're shooting it down despite his third pick.
Despite it, I have no idea what it is, Bruce.
Oh,
I have to know his third pick.
I don't know if you're going to regret it or not, but you're being shot down on the short on Capitec now. Your third pick is absolutely cunning, because on another show I do on this channel tonight with Bruce Whitfield, we had 3 esteemed stock pickers on the other night.
Who was
and
that, Bruce?
all 3 of them chose your third share. I'll tell you in a moment, Sasha Naryshkine. Before we do that,
But that's the only one I have to pick then, right?
But the international benchmark since the beginning of this year is to align their thinking to mine.
Finally, the world is waking up to the new reality.
To the one.
Which pill did they take, Bruce?
Recent trading update out of Shoprite. Not fantastic, but not disastrous. Give me 30 seconds on why you still like Shoprite.
'Cause I think they've built an empire here, nearly tripled sales, in fact more than tripled sales over a decade, and doubled the store footprint. It still is a South African centric business, and with lower interest rates for longer because of lower energy prices, that's good for their distribution business. That's fantastic for the South African consumer, and they've stolen market share from who used to be in charge and large, and they're spreading beyond our borders, having learned some very solid lessons.
My local Checkers is lekker.
Well, that plays in the LSM classes 7 to 10. I thought you fell 11 to 14.
I like to experience the real. Checkers is doing clever things. Shoprite is serving a market. USave is serving a huge South African
Don't forget
market.
Hungry Lion.
Hungry Lion in Africa.
Hungry Lion serves the biggest market
First
of all.
one ever was in Stellenbosch,
Really?
just by the way. Yeah, which sounds a little bit counterintuitive, but hey.
Hey, the management, where did the management of Shoprite live? They were pickish.
Yeah, exactly.
No, you've got to love Shoprite.
I love the company, and there's also a lot of cash in their balance sheet.
Are you going to quibble on price, though?
No.
You're not?
No.
Why are you not going to quibble on Shoprite's price?
Simply because of the growth. The price has to be justified by the growth. I mean, at the moment they're sitting on 8 billion rents, and they said that over the next 5 years they will be rolling down 163 new stores. They're operating in 16 African countries, and Africa is a billion-strong population. So the opportunities for growth. Remember that as the people get wealthier, they tend to eat more. I mean, you look at GDP growth rates in other countries like Ghana, Nigeria, and so on. Angola, we're talking the economy growing between 6 and 7%.
I mean, you just look at the consumption of Moe Chandon in Nigeria and in Angola and in Lusaka. Yeah. And particularly, Whitey Basson likes to use the Moe Chandon example of the huge sales they do there versus in stores in South Africa. There's a good LSM story to be told in some of those countries too.
Here's an out there one to add to that. Christo is not getting any younger. He's 72. Whitey's not getting any younger. I think he's 68, 69. What happens with the Whitey exit that Crisco can now speak to Marcus Jooste, a la Pepkor, and have the biggest retailer, both with big Western European, Eastern European, and an African one? Who knows?
No, absolutely. Well, I mean, this has been speculated a long time. My mate Victor Clark was talking about this years ago. Now, the deal's been done, of course, between Marcus Jooste and Christo Wiese in terms of Steinhoff. And, of course, I was sent a picture the other day of Pepkor's new office in central London as well. So they're doing interesting things in the UK. Shoprite is a lekker story.
Yeah,
You're going to take it.
No, I take it.
Fill your trolley with Shoprite shares.
Of course, of
there
course.
There we go. Sasha, you've had one accepted. We are yet to see get one accepted. So who will succeed and who will bear the displeasure of defeat? We'll be back in a minute. Catch you on the other side of this with a reflection and some fascinating shares. This is CNBC Africa, and you're watching the Share Shootout League, the only league without awards ceremonies. Well, not just yet. We will have an award ceremony, and the winner of the Share Shootout League will win a prize and then we'll ask them to donate it to charity. This is match day number 34. The semi-finals are 2 matches away. Follow at SSO League and vote for either the One or Bucks and make one of these guys' day, if not the entire season. Let's have a look at what they've chosen so far. Kgantsi has chosen the Ford Motor Company. He's also chosen a short on CapitecBank. Both of those ideas have been dismissed as diabolical by Sasha Naryshkine, who has gone for Discovery, shot down by Neo, but Shoprite accepted. So Kgantsi taking Shoprite, but interesting final pick, which is going to be hard for Neo to shoot down from Sasha. I think we'll make Neo go first anyway. Let's go, Kgantsi. I'm interested. No, let's make Sasha go first.
Yes.
I want to see this fight. We've seen recently in the South African market the merger of Kalahari.com and Takealot, but the big gorilla in the global space. I've spoken, wonderful guys. The big gorilla in global online retail, yet to make a profit 20 years on.
Not true.
Amazon.com. 30 seconds, fight with me.
Okay, Bezos ultimately is an investor. He comes from a hedge fund background, moved to Seattle for tax reasons. Okay. Now, Amazon are rolling out what they call these centers, basically, which are big distribution centers, and they're putting a lot of electronic, kind of buying. They're machines that move all the stuff around. So they got such a long lead time over everybody else. So even when they do it, Amazon's distribution centers will be much, much better. And if you strip out investments, they trade on a 25 multiple.
Cheating. Do you like Amazon.com?
No, I don't. There's nothing, there's no investment case about it.
Why
These
not?
are
This
one
is
of the
the
companies
future.
where, this is what, there's plenty of them, mushrooming everywhere, and there's a company where you say that, what's the dividend yield? Nothing. What's the PE ratio? Null.
Well, if you strip out investments, actually in the mid to low 20s.
What's the IP? Do they have IP? Is there,
They have a brand. They have a brand that is globally trusted.
Yes.
They have a brand that can deliver globally. Macy's recently announcing closing down some physical stores to go online. 20
Not
years
just
too
them,
late.
JC Penney,
and the world is catching on really late to Amazon.com's magic. These are the brand leaders worldwide. Not good enough for you now?
No, not good for you now. I mean, I'm looking at value, and there's no value. Unfortunately, intrinsic value that I can attach to the company at the moment.
Argue that one, sir.
How about 41 billion spent in their distribution centers?
No, but spent. I mean,
invested.
Yes,
sorry,
they
not
keep
spent.
Throwing money at this
They're
monster.
not throwing, they're growing.
Yeah.
They're not throwing, they're growing.
In a desperate bid to get
money.
relevance.
No, not really, because when Bezos, the first thing that he did is when he had a look at McDonald's, he said, okay, McDonald's has got in fact, he wrote his thesis on Amazon on a trip across from New York to Seattle, and he said, McDonald's, I mean, anyone can replicate McDonald's, but how do you get over 30,000 stores at the time? It's brand relevance. And the initial name was Cadabra, as in abracadabra, but he said it sounded too much like cadaver, so he changed it to Amazon, which was
on that basis, I'd buy his shares. But you're not buying.
No, I'm not buying it.
You're shut down on Amazon.com.
Okay.
I think he's wrong for the record. Because one day you'll be right on Amazon.com, Sasha. I'm not sure when, but one day you will be. Which takes us into the final stretch now, Kgantsi. The other day, we had J.M. Busha, we had Adrian Saville, and we also had Nick Norman Smith.
These sound like value people.
These are guys who uniformly, we were looking at the best performers of 2014 and the worst performers of 2014, and they came up with various picks. But uniformly, if I said there was one share on the whole of the JSE that they could invest in for 2015, what would it be? All three of them chose your share.
Yeah.
They're following you.
Yeah.
Tell me why you like that.
Because he's the one.
Well, simply because, I mean, this company, basically, this is the lowest it has been, in 50 years relative to the JSE. It has been an absolute hound, for good reasons, because, they have wasted, invested, shareholders' funds and so on. But now with, since, like last year, basically, there's a new strategy in place that, an asset will stay in the portfolio if it delivers an ROE of at least 15%. The management is in a turnaround phase, and the share is very cheap. You pick it up at a P of around 4.
Sorry, I didn't even catch which is
AngloAmerican, the mighty Anglo.
The mighty AngloAmerican. Jeez, I'm absolutely gutted that I have to pick this one. I'm shattered.
Why do you hate it so much?
I don't hate it so much. I just think, a bet on commodities is a bet against technological advancements and humanity. It wasn't me who said that. It was somebody else who said that.
You stole it.
This is
Yes.
ideology, yeah?
No, it is.
Not really,
Yeah.
because if you have a look at motor vehicles
come on,
over
Rob
the last
Davies.
10 years, I mean, they've improved fuel efficiencies by, what's it? It's like close to 30-35% over a 10-year
The world
period.
population, 10 billion by 2050. Stuff needs to get made. It's made out of
Yes.
raw materials. Those raw materials are produced by companies like AngloAmerican, which are very cheap right now. Surely you've got to be
Well,
interested.
sometimes cheap for a reason. I have no choice but to accept.
But you accept
his
it
stock.
reluctantly.
Well, reluctantly. Look, I
'Cause you're
mean,
a
I
BHP
think Mark Cutifani is the business. Although, ironically, for all the work that he did at AngloGold Ashanti, the share price tanked during his tenure. So everybody absolutely loves him. He's the first mining engineer to run AngloAmerican, which is ironic, isn't it? And they turned 100 when? In 2017.
Yeah,
so
thereabouts.
he should still be there. He's done a lot of work, you know, maybe, it hit 180 just a couple of weeks ago, right? I mean, that's probably about as cheap as it's going to get.
But
so reluctantly, I'm picking it.
But if I gave you a choice of BHP Billiton or Glencore or Anglos, you wouldn't choose Anglos.
No, and I wouldn't choose Glencore either.
So you'd have to take BHP Billiton.
Yes.
He's such a habitual creature. So he's accepting,
He's very predictable.
but he is so predictable.
Yeah.
There we go. Let's see whether or not you're predictable. You catch us on Twitter and you vote for the player of your choice. Be it a tweet or a retweet, as long as it's got a hashtag, we'll count it as a vote. Voting closes Sunday midnight. You follow at SSO League and you use the power of the hashtag. You either go for bucks or you go for the one. The one this evening, just to remind you, he went for Ford Motor Corporation, a short on Capitec and a bet on a turnaround at AngloAmerican. Sasha reluctantly chose AngloAmerican. Sasha, he chose Discovery, Shoprite and Amazon. Shoprite was the only one to get the thumbs up. We'll see you next Tuesday, 8:30 Central African time, right here on CNBC Africa. Until then, stay cunning.